Hello and welcome to this edition of the Whole Health with Rob Carney Podcast. And on this episode, we have Eddie Madden. And Eddie is the blue-collar undercover health coach from the Boston area, just like myself. So known on Instagram as Chef Coach Madden for his enthusiastic videos. Eddie's a Czech-trained holistic lifestyle coach who by day is a high school football coach and asphalt paving contractor. So Eddie's blue-collar upbringing fused with holistic health has given him a unique opportunity to work undercover, disguised as a regular Joe, pushing on a message worth hearing. So Eddie is a deep-rooted personal mission to build community, spread love, and help heal the planet from the inside out. And Eddie has a journey and a perspective that I think you'll love to hear. And in this, Eddie talks about his growth in the journey of going from a blue-collar job and how he works that into teaching the kids and anyone he works with the ways of holistic health and just spreading the health and joy wherever he goes. So I hope you enjoy the podcast, and off we go. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one and only Chef Coach Madden, Eddie Madden, to the podcast. Eddie, welcome aboard, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having me, pal. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
Hey, man, thanks for being here. And as we just introduced, you are a holistic health practitioner like myself, trained by the Czech Institute. You've had a blue-collar experience, both background and present to some degree as well. You coach high school football. So I would love for you to share your story, where it all started from whenever you started going down the holistic health route and what led you to where you are right now, my man.
Sure, Rob. I'd be happy to tell you, pal. So let's see. I've been born and raised in Boston, in the Boston area. And I was born into a Boston-based blue-collar family. Low middle class, I would say, is the best way to, kind of put us into a certain category of, where we were at financially, sometimes struggling, sometimes not. I had a sister. I had my regular upbringing, dad, mom, grandparents involved in Boston, and my family had a pretty busy, successful construction company going. We've been doing asphalt paving since my grandfather started the company in 1947. So I was kind of raised as a kid, like I always joke, like I was nursed on a construction site. I didn't play Little League because I worked in the summers, and I just always was on the construction site. And it was a great time. I had great parents, and to kind of give you a real sense, I like everyone goes through adversity, Rob. I lost my mom when I was 10. So then my family, things just kind of, my dad sold the company. We moved to Florida. It was just like a major family crisis. My dad was then raising me and my sister at the time, and we moved from Boston to Florida, and it was just a real like hectic situation for my family. But everyone comes together as, all families are going through stuff. And we ended up just sticking to our roots. We ended up coming back to Boston, getting back involved with construction. And life went on. And my dad was a great dad, and my grandparents were close with me. And I ended up playing sports. I went to a high school south of Boston, and really my background is in construction. It's in football and sports because, as I think everyone in the country associates Boston with sports, we're all sports fanatics. So, like Sundays watching football is a big thing. And then when I was after high school, I got into the bar industry. So really the man I am today has a lot to do with, my family coming together, through adversity when I lost my mom, and then like being involved in construction, being involved in sports as a kid, high school football mainly. And then when I was 18, going into the bar industry. So like the person I am today is, we could go into it more, but it's basically comes from construction, athletics, interscholastic athletics in the bar industry. And that's kind of like a unique little three. But yeah, that's basically, that's like a quick, maybe it was long. I don't know. But yeah, that's where I'm at, buddy. Construction, football, and the bar industry kind of put me where I'm at now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I want to know a little bit more just about your holistic health side. How did that incorporate into the bar industry, the football, and all that?
Yeah, so let's see. When I was working in the summers with my family, so right now, when I approach holistic health, I feel strongly that everything stems from our mental, emotional background. Wherever we're perceiving in our reality is really originating from our mentality, our attitude, our perspective, and then, what's feeding that is our emotions. So I'm really, in touch with the fact that our reality, I think, in my perspective, is being produced by our mentality and our emotions. So I remember one summer things were kind of going tough. And when I was running a crew by the time I was 17, and with grown men, and it was just a tough, it was just kind of like show up and work. But we had a tough summer, and me and a foreman, a guy I used to work with, we used to come up with word of the day, and just to keep ourselves positive. And I didn't realize it at the time, but what we were really doing was tapping into positive psychology. Like we would say, for example, one is like one of the first ones was dream. Well, actually, one of the first ones was posture. So we talk about posture. And this was way before I even knew anything about holistic health. I didn't even know what the word holistic was. I was like 18 and, drinking and, just eating. Yeah, I was addicted to fast food when I was in elementary school. Like I came like really out of the gutter of health, even though, I came from a pretty, well-grounded financial family, because we had work, but, we had no, like, there was no holistic education in any of my family. But one of the first words of the days I remember is posture. It was like, how tall are you? Stand up as tall as you can. If you're 5'9", there's some people out there that are only 5'7", and you're slouching. Stand up as tall as you are. Put your head up. Put your chest out. Stand up. Even if you're having a bad day, stand up tall. So we just say that. Or another one was dream. Dream. If you don't have a dream, one can't come true. So me and this, or like be immune to any negativity that comes to you. So we were just always working up these words of the day. And we had no idea. I still talk to him. He's in his 70s now. But that was the beginning, for like where I started to get real positive. And then I started coaching football when I was 20. So I've been coaching high school football for 14 years now. And, I hold myself responsible for the information I give my kids. I mean, my whole thing is that I'm teaching holistic health, but I'm teaching it in disguise, undercover as a football coach. I'm trying to heal the planet, and I'll take any captive audience I can get. Any way I can teach people how to, love themselves, how to take better care of themselves, how to be positive, I'm going to take that opportunity. So my whole holistic health journey, it started, on a construction site. And then that got me going with positivity. Like I've always just wanted to be motivated. It just came natural. And then going into football coaching, I was 20 coaching 18-year-olds. I used to just use that positivity and just, I used to read books. And one of the first books was The Psychology of Winning by Dennis Waitley. And then another one, the old one, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Just like little books like that, you're just on the breadcrumb trail of life, and it's like the river delta, working back up to the mainstream, like all these little things that just seemed like they were happening. And then boom, here I am now talking to you on this podcast. Like, holy crap, I can't believe all that had meaning.
Very cool, brother. Yeah, no, it's something too that, as you just said, there tends to be a breadcrumb trail that people follow that get into this world of the holistic health and healing. I think that, as you said, it started with something in what was your normal life at the time. You're on the construction site, and all of a sudden something piqued your interest, and then all of a sudden something else piqued your interest, and it becomes a snowball effect of, once you start learning about something that you're genuinely interested in and something that affects you directly, it's not just hypothetical. Like all the things you talk about, the posture, the dream, the healthy eating, getting off of fast food, those aren't hypotheticals. Those are, you physically feel all those things that you're talking about there. So then once you start to think about these things, become interested in these things, and start to feel these things, we're just like, there's got to be more. What else is there? And as you said, then you start reading books, and it becomes this whole, you're going down the rabbit hole of whatever topic you're going down. Yeah, it could be, you could be doing that in the other direction too, where you're doing self-destructive behavior, but you're choosing to go down the path of healing, the path of learning and growth. And I think that's something that is incredible, that you're working that into what most people view as a job or a profession with coaching or football that is not really associated with holistic health and healing. And I think that is an incredible seed to plant in that industry, and something that I think years from now, those kids that you coach are going to look back and be like, oh yeah, Coach Madden really was right about that. He said this thing, and then they're remembering it all these years later. And I think that, in my experience at least, when we hear something the first time, we tend to dismiss it, and sometimes even the second, third time. Then also we hear it the fourth time. So by you repeating this message to these kids over the course of a whole season or 4 years, however long you have them, it's getting ingrained in their heads. And whether they consciously know it or not, that's making a substantial impact on their life and how they make the most minuscule decisions, whether their mom's like, do you want McDonald's or do you want me to cook tonight? And instead of choosing McDonald's, they might go home and say, Mom, like, I'd appreciate it if you cook. Thank you. And a lot of times it really is those little things that can make all the difference. So props to you, my brother. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.
So I remember too, when we first chatted over the summer, was the first time that we talked, was over FaceTime, because we were introduced by our mutual friend Zavi. And I remember right off the bat, we kicked it off, and you had mentioned about your Crescent Street Cafe, the little cafe that you've got going on at your humble abode there with your garden. You got the ice baths, you got the workout equipment. And when I first went there, obviously I was like, this is fucking awesome. I want to be a part of this. So I want to hear how that all started, the Crescent Street Cafe, what that means to you, and what you are hoping to make that be in the future.
Oh, that's a cool question. It's funny. Well, let's see. Well, first of all, I could tell you what the end product is going to be. It's going to be some kind of place that's based on community, wellness, and play. So with that, like, prestige that I'm going to give you at the end, now I'll work back and tell you how, where I am now, where it came from, and how the hell I'm going to get to whatever the hell it's going to be. So, going back on the holistic health deal, I want to be the strongest version of myself. I want to identify all the limitations that are in my conscious being, that are in my subconscious being. I just want to try to be able to show up as authentically and as empowered as possible. Why? So I can listen and show up for my family, so I can listen and show up for my football players, so I can listen and show up to communities that I'm in. How can I do that? Well, Czech Institute taught me I'm client number one. I want to be a health coach. I want to have a practice. I want to have people come through. Well, the first client is me, right? If I'm giving more attention to somebody else, I am not doing the right thing. I'm destroying my home. So this whole place that you came and seen is just me trying to focus on me. Yeah, I'd love to have a practice. I'd love to have, a real cafe that, has all these things that I dream of, but I have to start where I am. And that's the same thing with me as a football coach. Like, I have a construction business and I'm a football coach for 14 years. Yeah, I can't just go jump up and build a fucking heaven house, pardon my French, up on Blue Hill Mountain in Boston and say, hey, look what I'm doing, Paul, or just, build some, ashram, in Quincy, Massachusetts. I'm trying to be me where I am, so trying to take my holistic knowledge and be the football coach, take my holistic knowledge and talk to my crew, guys I'm working with. But also, how can I take my home? How can I build my holistic practice? So, I want to grow my own food. Like, I am what I eat. So how can I've always gardened. I've always had a little garden this would be like my 10th year gardening with some kind of, produce coming. And it just builds like, all right, I have to move. I had a gym membership. Like, why the hell am I going to this gym? I was going there for the sauna. I'm like, I don't need the sauna. I just need, how about screw heat? Let's go ice. So then I found an ice machine found me. It's just like the breadcrumb trail. Like, things started to build. Like, I just stopped going out. Like, how can I make my own situation as convenient as possible to build myself up? I need my own food. I need to, thermoregulate myself. I take cold showers all the time. How can I, cold showers and nothing. I don't even blink. I don't even flinch anymore. It's like, how can I get more? All right, so let's get the ice tubs. And then, I retired from the bar industry about 2 years ago, and I have that itch for community. I really miss that. So I'm just kind of following the flow, like I'm in the river and I'm just following. I'm like, where is this taking me? What's happening? I'm always cooking food. I want to cook for people. I invite people over. I like to be social. I want to move. I want to work out. I want to dance. I want to have conversations. I want to have people come through, that it's just, I don't know. I'm just trying not to force anything. I'm just trying to watch what's showing up into my life, Rob.
Yeah, and just for anyone who has not seen Eddie's place, so when you drive up, you park, there's a nice grassy area with a huge tire, one of the biggest tires I've ever seen. And then on the side of the house, he's got a little vegetable garden there with some nice tomatoes. He's got a water charger, which we'll get into that on another topic. That might be a little too much for the first one, but he's got a water charger. And then you go in there, he's got basically a mini gym in his home. And then you go outside on his deck, and he's got an ice bath there and an ice machine. So he's got the whole setup, and he's got his own little office where he can work on anything he wants to. He's got a nice whiteboard on there that we've used to discuss some health topics and all that fun stuff. So he's got the whole setup, and he's got a great open kitchen with lots of organic food. So when we've done a couple events, or the couple events that I've been there, we did a little breath work, and we did some ice baths. We did some great food, and we did some exercise. So it was an incredible way to really make health fun at its simplest core. And that's really the first thing that came to my mind, is it was making being healthy fun. And it brought that community aspect that Eddie was just talking about. And it's crazy to see. There was a great mix of people that we've had at these events too. And some people who had never done breath work, some people who had kind of heard of it but were unsure of it. And when they did it, they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Of course, there's some people like, I don't really need that in my life. And sometimes it takes a few times, but it's really cool to see the community aspect and see all the different stages that people are at in terms of their awareness, what they've been exposed to, what's normal to them, what they're opposed to, what feels uncomfortable, and all that. And I think the ice baths were an incredible community aspect, because not only is it something that it's fun, it gives you a little adrenaline, it's good for you, but it's kind of scary, because you're getting into this ice cold bath that your instinct is telling you, why the hell would I ever get in there? That looks terrible. These people are freezing, they're breathing deeply, but you get out of there with this euphoric feeling. And it's always very interesting to me to watch people's first experience in the ice baths, because you can see the internal radar going off, like, get out, buddy, dude, nope, stop, get out. And then you kind of push through that mentally. And I usually find after about 30 to 45 seconds that kind of subsides. You kind of hit that sweet spot where you tend to fall into it. And it's really cool to see these people who've never done it before to really fall into that, and then to hear them like, oh, now I'm taking cold showers. Oh, now I'm doing a little breath work. Oh, now I'm eating some organic food. And as we talked about earlier with the kids in the football program that you do, it's a lot of the little things you're doing, the leading by action and just sharing what you do. And I think that's what I really commend you for, is that you just share what you do and you enjoy sharing that with the community. And yeah, sometimes it's not the most convenient to be cooking for 10 people and really hosting everything. And that's a lot of effort. So, but I thank you for the time that you've shared with me at your place and all the great things you've done. And for anyone that's in the Boston area, you got to check it out. Crescent Street Cafe is a place to be. I don't know what's the schedule going to be like moving forward. Do you have any plans for that, or what's the winter and fall season going to look like?
That's a good question. I was thinking about maybe just having, instead of like having the weekly event, because we went, 6 weeks in a row, I think we did. I was thinking about maybe just having like one event a month. Like, hey, we're having this event. I'm going to cook. We're going to have food. We're going to have ice. There will be food. There will be ice. Maybe, who knows? If you're available, we could do some breath work. Who knows? I think I just want to build a little event of some sort, and just see how it goes. See who wants to show up. Health is fun. That's what you said, Rob. And we've just, in my perspective, right, like the environment that we live in right now, it's just changing so fast, right? Our body can't keep up with the change, right? So that's where disease and depression are coming up. It's just our body just can't keep up with the way our environment changes with, like what is, I always tell people, when I'm in different circles, I say, what does a bird do? Like what does a seagull do? A seagull, flies around, it looks for food, or a gull in general, it sits on the water, it sits. Or what does a squirrel do? A squirrel climbs up in the trees, it runs around, it chases, it grabs nuts, and, it does what it does. What does a human being do? Well, a human being is not on this planet to sit in a car for an hour and a half in the morning, then sit in a chair for 6 hours, take a quick little walk, have a break, sit in another car for an hour and a half, then sit in front of a fake piece of, a fake light and stare at that for 3 hours, then go to sleep. Like, that's not what human beings do. Like, human beings are supposed to eat, make tools, play, dance, fight, scream, yell, make love, run, be mischievous. Like, that's what human beings are supposed to do. And we have just gone so far off the track. That's why I think that humans are just breaking down. That's why the biggest buildings in every city are fucking hospitals and insurance companies, So I'm just trying to come back to life by just doing simple, fun little stuff. Let's make food. Let's play. Let's get in cold water. Let's maybe dance. Let's, throw some things around. Let's just do like basic stuff. And then we'll realize how fun it is.
For sure. And one thing too that I really find myself is that working with kids, and I'm sure you get this too with working with high school football players, I think that they're probably a little bit more mature and conditioned as well. But working with the little kids especially, I find that you really uncover what it is to be a human. Like you said, like everything is play, everything is fun. You put them in a room and they'll figure out fun. You say, go play. Of course, at first, like, there's nothing to do for the first 30 seconds. Then very quickly, they'll find something to do. They find their fun. They find fun in anything. You can give them a piece of paper and a stick, and they will make fun out of that. You can give them a pine cone and some sand or whatever. They'll find something to do with that. And it does not have to be as complex as you said, sitting in front of a screen, watching TV for 3 hours a night. We need to learn how to have fun in a healthy way and in that community way. And I think that that's something that's very important, that I'm very much drawn to your mission and your vision, is that, and I fall into this myself, is I'm definitely on the workaholic side of things, that I like to be doing. And I love what I do. But at the same time, I miss that community because especially in America, we're very much trained to be an individual. Whereas when I was in Asia, and especially in Sri Lanka, it's very much community-based. These families are very tight-knit. They do a lot of things together. a lot of it is I do this, you do that. We work together towards a common goal, where in America, it's very much I do my thing, you do your thing. If they coexist, great. But at the end of the day, it's kind of we're all individuals. And I think that's where there's greatness to that. Absolutely. I think it is very important. I value my alone time and value my solitude extremely high. But at the same time, I feel I'm missing, and many of us are missing, that community aspect in a fun way. And that's what I really like about your vision is the word fun. Because as we get older, you don't have fun. You go to work, you do your job, as you said, you watch TV, you get pissed off at the news, you do all these things that it's not fun. We've lost our idea of fun. We've lost our idea of play. It's something that exercise can be fun. If you're not having fun while you exercise, you're probably doing the wrong exercise, or maybe you're a group exercise person. There's so many different ways to move that I've really found lately being the past few months, that I got some steel maces or steel clubs, little one-hand steel clubs. I have a kettlebell. I have 2 light dumbbells. I got a sports ladder, what are those for footwork, whatever those things are called, speed ladder. And I do some barefoot running, jogging, hiking, yoga, push-ups. And I've really found that when I got out of the gym, which has gotten me injured every time I've gone to the gym over the years for more than 4 months at a time, I always end up with some injury or nagging pain or uncomfortable spot. And it wasn't fun. And now I switched it to something that's much more playful. Like I love playing with the clubs, the maces. It's fun. I love barefoot running, sprinting, all those type of things. They're fun, and that makes the activity fun. And that's one thing too, that at your house when we were doing the workouts, it was some rowing, it was doing the tire, it was using the sledgehammer, it's climbing a rope. It's all fun stuff that is still exercise and building our bodies up, building our minds, building that community. And I think that's what we're missing. And I think that's what you really bring to the table that is so incredibly valuable. And I'm so excited to be a part of and living close to you, close enough that I can drive to be a part of your Crescent Street Cafe, because most people don't have that community or someone who is willing to take that first step to create that community. So I want to thank you for doing that, first of all. And what's the best way for people to get involved at the Crescent Street Cafe and start attending these events?
I would say probably the best way right now is to just follow me on Instagram, and at chef _coach, I think _ Madden. You know, I'll tell you, I'm much better out in the lawn, out in the grass, coming up with games than, fine tuning captions and stuff like that on Instagram and names. But I would say just follow me on Instagram, and then I'll just be putting the events out on there, because social media is our friend now. I mean, we got to use social media as our friend to push our message and be authentic, Rob,
I do. Yeah. And it's one thing too, is, you follow Eddie. I'll put his Instagram in the bio here, or the description of the video. And I'll obviously follow both of us here. I'll be sharing any event of his that I'll be going to as well. So follow us, definitely see both of that. As you've heard, there's a great community that's being built here. And the more people that we can get on board who are looking to create fun with their health and build community, I think that we would love to have you. Eddie would love to have you, and we'd love to connect with you. So, Eddie, besides Instagram, is there another way that people can contact you, or is that the best way? Do you use email, or is Instagram kind of your main method right now?
Instagram's pretty good. I think that's a pretty reliable way to get a hold of me. Also on Facebook at Eddie Madden. And, like you said, Rob, you are advising people, you're recommending me. But the big thing is, like you said, we're individuals in America, right? So we're almost desensitized. We're not ready for community. So it is even coming to my event, or coming to an event you're going to have, Rob, or going to some workshop at a yoga studio. What the thing is that we need to be brave, to walk into a room with people we don't know, to go to a place we've never been to before and realize it's okay. To walk into a room and know that it's safe. Like, we are community animals, but we've been isolated, like the universe doesn't support isolation. That's why we need community. And, whether it's hitting me up, hitting you up, we just got to be brave because we're so used to isolation and we know it's not working. It's going to require a little bravery for all of us, or me, you, all of us to, get back on the community type track.
Awesome. Thank you, man. And do you have any final words, final messages you want to leave with the audience? What is the go-to chef coach Madden phrase that we can leave the listeners with?
Oh, let's see. I would say it would just have to be the old original before I even knew what holistic health was, is dream, right? Dream. If you don't have a dream, one can't come true. If you can think it really is true. Just dream. Make sure we have a dream. Because if you can dream something, Great Spirit's going to make it happen. There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. And most importantly, thanks, Rob. Whole Health Connections. You're making connections. You're increasing the health, the wholesome health of the planet, even in your own little universe here and who you're connected with online and on social media. You're making Whole Health Connections. So keep doing your thing, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for being on here, and I look forward to the next edition of Crescent Street Cafe. So keep us checked out on your social media. Keep us posted what you're doing. We'd love to connect with you. Follow both of us and see the latest events. And if you're in the Boston area, please come on down. Don't be shy. As Eddie said, it's going to take a little bravery. So if you're in the Boston area, be brave. Take that initiative. Reach out to me. Reach out to Eddie. Let us know if you're interested, remotely interested, even if it's and you think maybe I probably don't want to go to that. If you have any inkling of wanting to go, reach out to us, and we'd love to make that happen. So, Eddie, thank you for being on here, my man, and we will talk very soon.
Thanks, Rob. See you, buddy.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the Whole Health of Rob Carney Podcast with our guest, Eddie Madden. So, as Eddie said, you can find him on Instagram at chef_coach__Madden. So that's 2 underscores in between Coach and Madden. So Eddie is from Quincy in the Boston area. So if you are in the area, as he mentioned and I mentioned, we are both looking to build that community at his Crescent Street Cafe where there's a lot of food, exercise, health, breath work, ice baths, you name it, anything holistic health, Eddie's got going on there. So we'd love for you to check that out. Let us know if you're interested. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by our Superfood Nutrition, the fuel that keeps me going, and many of the people I work with. So that is Purium Health Products and Mushroom Revival. So if you go to iShopPurium.com and use the code WHOLEHEALTH, you'll save $50 on your first order. And they have everything from organic green juice for less than $3 a day, which is pretty darn hard to find anywhere else. Top of the line of amino acids, we got the tart cherry juice, which helps with natural melatonin and antioxidants before bed. As well as many others, like the famous glyphosate-removing product, the Biomedic, which has been shown to remove up to 74% of glyphosate, which is a harmful herbicide, from your gut within just 6 weeks. And then we have Mushroom Revival, which with my friend Alex Storr, and if you haven't seen that podcast with him, I would highly recommend you checking that out. He's got a wide variety of products there, medicinal mushrooms, anything you need from energy, improving sleep, mental clarity, get that bow chicka wow wow for your bedroom, get things all steamy. So for that, you can save 15% on your every order with the code ALLHEALTH. So we'd love for you to check that out at mushroom-revival.com. And again, that's Purium Health Products, iShopPurium.com, and mushroom-revival.com with the code WHOLEHEALTH for savings. Thank you for listening, and look for the next one.